Hello and welcome to Nitro Talk. If you're into nitro, anything, engines, vehicles, anything at all to do with the nitro side of the hobby, please give me a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. We just took a look at the Associated Pro 21. So now let's go ahead and get a peek ski at the 28 here, the Associated Pro 28. This was the Pro 21 we did, and we looked at the pull start. And there, this one was missing this coupler on the back, right? And this one right here was on the Pro 28. It's the same, part. One's missing the pull string, and the other one was missing the coupler. So I took the coupler off of that one. So at least now we got one fully complete combo start, spin or pull start. So that is. You can get a good look at, the parts of it. The shaft is built in, the one-way bearing there, the shaft goes through and is connected on either side, has a C-clip to keep it on this side, and then the coupler attaches on the outside, and your one-way bearing is in the pull start right there, external one-way bearing. All right, and yeah, this string would go there. So that is the pull start on both the Pro 21 and Pro 28. Same combo, spin or pull start. All right, we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and start looking at the Pro 28, and we're going to see a lot of the same stuff that we saw on the Pro 21. They have the same carburetor. I'm going, apparently they both had a clutch on them as well, so I'm taking these clutches off. And I believe both of these are stock MGT setups. Like, I believe that is the stock MGT flywheel with the fan there on it. Not positive, but I believe so. And I keep having trouble with these. My 10 millimeter won't go down on that. I need like a deep well 10 millimeter. And of course, no, of course I'm not going to very easily find that, but let's see if I can. There we go. That didn't take too long. And that. All right. So there we go. I like this T handle here. I keep this in my pit bag. I use it for a lot of pinch bolts. I keep this 6 millimeter in it, which is most pinch bolts. All right. Flywheel off. Again, flywheel and clutch. That's vehicle specific, not engine specific. All right. Let's go ahead and start ripping into this Pro 28. Now, this is the same backplate that we just looked at. That was on the Pro 21. Again, same carburetor. Possibly the same crank. I probably should have left the Pro 21 apart while I pulled this thing apart so we could double check and verify that those parts are the exact same. But I should be able to tell you. Pretty plain on the parts on the 21. So I'm not expecting, oh, are those 2.5 this time? Yeah, they went from 2 millimeter head bolts in the Pro 21 to 2.5 millimeter head bolts in the Pro 28. That's one upgrade that I like. I hate those 2.5 or those 2 millimeter bolts screws. I much prefer a 2.5 millimeter, much less prone to stripping. 6-bolt heads, you know, I don't really think there's a point, simply because I've never had a 4-bolt head come loose. I mean, if you know, if 4-bolt heads, you know, coming off or getting loose was a thing, you know, then maybe, I guess, 6-bolt head. But for me, it's just more screwing, more bolting and unbolting I have to do to inspect the engine every time. I really don't see the added advantage of 6 bolts in the head. So when they upgraded the MGT, okay, let's talk about the associated MGT. When they upgraded it from the Pro 21 to the Pro 28, you know, I've said before, did I forget one? No, that I liked the Pro 21. Oh, this is a one-piece head. Pro 21, okay, that was an aftermarket head. Maybe the stock head is one piece as well, okay. We didn't pull the stock head off, so yeah, the stock head on the 21 is probably one piece as well, because this is the 28, Pro 28 stock head, and it is a one-piece head without a removable head button. All right, we'll move our piston up, take our back plate off, even though I'm certain that it is not interference. We always play it safe. And yeah, this appears to be the exact same crank, but I'll be able to better tell you here in a second. If I can get this rod off. Come on. Oh, the heck am I doing? The sleeve is still in it. Yeah, now, okay, now the 28 one, the 21 sleeve popped right out, but this 28 sleeve is not popping right out. So I will, of course, go to my go-to. My first attempt to remove a stuck sleeve is my hook, my pusher. And I simply catch the bottom of the sleeve and a little bit more. Push the sleeve up like such. Now, let's see if that rod, there we go, popped right off. A little bit easier when you take the sleeve out first, right? All right, I will remove the collet off of the crank here real quick. All right, and tippity tap our crank out. Yes, this is the exact same crank. So same crank in the Pro 21 and Pro 28. And we will look at that here momentarily. I know not everyone watched the Pro 21 video. All right, so again, parts that are exactly the same, swap back and forth on the Pro 21 and Pro 28. Now that is interesting. You know, never mind on the carb, because this is a 3-needle carb. This does have, this is not the exact same carb that's on the Pro 21. So, crank is the same, back plate, one-way bearing, pull start, all of that is the same, Pro 21 and Pro 28, all right? Different crankcase, different cooling head, different piston sleeve, and different carburetor. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this stuff. We looked at the pull start stuff. The back plate here, one-way bearing. Now this thing has 2 one-way bearings. One-way bearing inside and one-way bearing built into the pull start. That's a one-way bearing right there. Germany, of course, like every other one-way bearing. And another one-way bearing inside the engine. What the heck is that not? All right, what's going on now? Am I tripping over here? All right, get that out of my way. This does it sit up like that? The other one didn't sit up like that. I would think that would sit down flush in there. No, of course. So, all right. You know, I'll have to put it back together and double check that. The Pro 21 one didn't sit up like that, did it? Didn't it? It sat smooth. What the heck's going on here? Something is not right. I'm missing. All right. Anyways, we'll put this back together in a second. I'm tripping out. So let's go ahead and look at the crank. And again, block city. We're not opened up. We'd have no fang, no shark fin on our leading edge, just big block cuts everywhere. Our induction window, again, you know what? Actually, never mind. The cranks are not the same. This is cut. This window here is cut larger. That side edge of the intake, the induction window, the leading edge right there, is not cut that sharply on the 21. This hole is smaller. That side right there is thicker. This little ledge right here is thicker on the 21. So this 28 does have a larger hole cut right there. Other than that, though, everything looks the same. This looks the same. We looked at the back plate. Larger. Is that larger? You know, I should have, really should have had the 21 out here still to compare. You know what? It'll take me 5 seconds to get one of these back plates out of here. You know, that one may not have a one. It does have a one-way bearing in it. All right, so it does a crank. Okay. Let me pull this off really quickly, and we'll check something out real quick. All right, let me pull this off. Sorry about that, but you know, I want to give y'all good info, and I could have swore that one-way bearing was sitting down level in the 21. So let's take a look at this one, see what happens on this. All right. Yes. I knew that one-way bearing was sitting down level in the 21. All right, so really, I mean, something's not right. All right, now let me set that there, set that there. These pieces appear to be identical. I don't see, the holes appear to be the same size. This is the 28 one, that's the 21 one, okay? So those are the same. Why are let's see, what's different with the bearings? The bearings appear to be identical. What the heck's going on? Those are identical. Same size, same shape, same thickness of everything. All right. That one goes in flush. That one will not. Okay. I don't, someone out there is probably yelling what's going on. I just don't see it. I don't get what is happening. That goes down in there. That does not. But all the parts are the same. Now watch. Let me try this. That goes down in there. that sits up there. So it's not the one-way bearing, it's the back plate. So neither of them will go into that back plate, but both of them will go into this back plate. And I'm looking to see if maybe that brass piece, the insert, is, no, they're not. It's not pushed up into the brass piece is flat with the aluminum. Brass piece is flat with the aluminum. I see no, it's just deeper. That one is just deeper. Is that? Yeah, that one's deeper. Okay, so to that ledge, all right, to the ledge that the brass insert is sitting next to, right, sitting next to that ledge, to this back, right? On this one, 8.61. On this one, 11.22. The Pro 21 one is deeper, and the one-way bearing sits down into it. But on the 28 one, it's shallower, and the one-way bearing sits up. Is that just, it's just made like that, and there's nothing wrong. That's just how it's supposed to be. The 28 one obviously will work fine like that. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm just so hung up on this, but I just don't get that. Let's look at these parts and then see if it goes back together fine. That is the Pro 21 setup right there. Let me put that back where it goes. All right, let's look at these parts and then we'll try to put this thing back together. I'm sorry, I'm thrown for a loop. 28 Pro instead of 21 Pro 21R. It says, oh, I'm sorry. The 21 says Pro 21R. This one says 28 Pro. AE Pro or Thunder Tiger Pro, it would say on the Thunder Tiger version. Looks like a cheap front bearing, steel rear bearing. Made in Taiwan. Again, got a big printed serial number on this one. All I want to do is try to put this thing back together. I'm just so hung up on that. It does not have the indexing pin sticking up like the Pro 21 does. It's kind of set down in there. The sleeve is set down in there a bit. Still a 6-button head, 6-bolt head. In this one, we do have a O-ring set down into the carb throat. So that's another upgrade they did for the Pro 28. Crank we did look at. Looks the exact same except for a little thinner wall right there. Don't get me started on the back plates. Our carburetor is a 3-needle this time. And a long low-speed needle. That 21 had a short low-speed needle. This one has a long low-speed needle. And this one is a 3-needle. You can adjust the low-speed needle, and you can also adjust the needle seat on the other side. High-speed needle there. And again, this one has that spring built-in throttle return built onto it there, although it's a little different. Sorry, I had a little camera snafu there, so I'm going to have to put these clips together. We're looking at the carburetor here. Yeah, this one is a 3 adjustment needle, but still metal on metal. So watch out for your hot restart problems. And it does have a rubber boot, not a silicone boot. All right. What have we yet to see? We did the crankcase. We looked at the pull start parts, the back plate, which, again, the one-way bearing sits up out of instead of down into. That still blows my mind. And yeah, as if you see, if you look at the very base of that carburetor, you see that stuff down there, that is associated green slime. That's what I used to use on my O-rings. And yes, I would just slather it right on without removing the O-ring. Which, I've started actually because this is how I learned something. I used to just I wouldn't take the O-ring off. I would just kind of, put some moly coat or whatever I was using at the time to lubricate O-rings on my finger and just kind of rub it into the O-ring like that. I discovered by doing that the moly coat actually helps to keep the metal, the aluminum from sticking together. The aluminum on aluminum can get frozen in the throat sometimes. A little moly coat on the aluminum outside there helps to keep the aluminum from locking into each other. So on these aluminum on aluminum carbs, I've actually been purposely putting a little layer of moly coat on the outside of the carb throat. All right, we are down to, did I look at the head? It's a one-piece head. We didn't get a real good look at it. Standard, not turbo, 6 bolt. And what were the shims? Okay, shim is still on it. Looks like just 1.3 shim aluminum on the Pro 28. All right, there is our piston. Yeah, again, another one looks pretty good on top. Got those weird, almost looks like water marks on the top of that. Don't know what that's from. But otherwise looks good. Certainly not pitted or anything. Looks, close to new. No, now that we gotta actually talk about what constitutes a knife-edged rod. If it's a total square block, right, that certainly isn't. But this one, it has those little cuts, right? It has those narrowers on the sides. Cut right there. Cut right there. That narrows somewhat, right, the side of the connecting rod. Now, not very much. That hasn't been narrowed very much. But if it's narrowed at all, no, that's not a knife edge. That's certainly not a knife edge. But if that flat spot is a little thinner, then it is a knife edge. It does not have to be, sharp to be called a knife edge. You can have a nice wide flat spot on it, just not that wide, I guess. And pretty meaty. Looks a little meatier on the bottom than the 21 rod, maybe. Yeah, this one's pretty meaty. I'd say a good medium meat on the Pro 28 rod there. Very small cutout in the skirt there. It's pretty almost full skirt except for that little cutout. All right, to the sleeve. Now, we don't have the dog ears that we had on the Pro 21. Remember the Pro 21 one had some dog ears on the side? Although this one is much wider at the top. The Pro 21 exhaust port was not as wide at the top as this one is. So got a nice wider top on that one. Come around to our intake and another absolute monster intake port. These Pro engines, the Pro 21 and both Pro 28, both have some monster intake ports. The Pro 21 one is taller than this one, whereas this one is wider. They both have really nice ramp. Look at that. Really nice ramp on it. What's that? Almost looks like the chrome is damaged on the bottom of that port there. But a really nice ramp on there. Nice, big, wide, deep ramp on that. huge intake port. And then, yeah, I was expecting the same, kind of just a basic oval Schnurly side port there. No ramp, no fang, just nothing. Yeah, on the Pro 21, the intake is narrower and these side ports are longer. But on the 28 here, the intake port is wider and these Schnurly side ports are shorter. So that is that. That is the Pro 28. And okay, let's frickin' put this thing together and see if that's fine. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who are big into the Pro 28 here who know exactly that that is fine or something wrong with it, whatever the deal is. But yeah, I mean, I've dealt with these engines before. I ran a few of them in an MGT. I'm sure I've ran one or two of these Pro 28s, but not a whole lot of experience getting into them and looking at the internals of them. Always spin your sleeve as you're putting it in. All right, got that in there nicely. What the heck was I trying? Yeah, I'm not caring about the top. I'm just trying to put this back on. All right, so I got the piston, sleeve, crank, all of that in there. Put on that thing sticking up all weird. Now, let's see if this thing goes in all the way like it should. I always put it over to the side, like at 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And then I put this at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. All righty. Looky there. It does go in place. It does fully seat. So yeah, I guess the Pro 28, that the one-way bearing does not fully sit down into the back plate. It kind of sits up a little bit. Yeah. Let me put at least a couple bolts in here. So I can just throw this on, make sure this goes in all the way. Yeah, everything sits together fine. So yeah, those two, I guess, are made differently. That's how those are. So that is the Pro 28. We got our look at it. That's the back plates are different. Apparently, crap, nothing's the same. The back, the pull start, that's the only thing that's exactly the same in the one-way bearing. Different back plate, different carb, all the parts that look very similar, crank, actually have little differences. All right, so that was the Associated Pro 28. Thank you very, very much for watching. More engine videos, more parts, vehicles, more Nitro videos coming right up. We'll see you there. Have a great day.